They thought Sundays were safe, that their children were untouchable behind centuries-old walls. But that illusion shattered just after 1 p.m., when a man high on Class A drugs scaled the outer wall of Windsor Castle like it was nothing more than a garden fence. He wasn't carrying a weapon. He didn't make it to the nursery. But the message was clear. If he could get that far, who else could? Inside Adelaide Cottage, barely a stone's throw from where the man broke in, Princess Catherine clutched her children and refused to let go. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis had been playing only minutes earlier. Now their mother was pale, holding them close, doors locked, windows drawn. Kensington Palace went into lockdown mode. Prince William, the ever-composed future king, reportedly slammed his fist against the wall behind closed doors. His voice echoed through the corridors. How did this happen again? Because yes, again, it's not the first time, and it might not be the last. The Metropolitan Police arrested the man quickly, but they couldn't erase the fear he'd caused, or the consequences now set in motion. King Charles was informed within minutes. But this time, the usually restrained monarch didn't keep his cool. According to aides, he was livid, not just angry, shaken, visibly emotional. He had been there before as a father, but now it was his grandchildren, the next generation, and they were vulnerable. The king didn't wait. He summoned the heads of the Metropolitan Police, the Royal Protection Command, and his most senior advisors. One order: fix it. Patrols doubled, drones deployed, reinforcements brought in. What was supposed to be a quiet day in the countryside had become a palace-wide emergency. But this wasn't a one-off. Just last October, 2 masked intruders stormed Shaw Farm, part of the Windsor estate. They weren't after jewels or secrets, just equipment. But they broke through gates, drove a stolen car across royal land, and vanished into the night before security even knew they were there. That time, the family wasn't targeted. But the breach went down as a massive failure. And everyone remembers 2021, Christmas Day. A young man with a crossbow made it onto Windsor Castle grounds. He'd recorded a video saying he planned to assassinate Queen Elizabeth II. That wasn't fantasy. That was a near disaster. So how is this still happening? Windsor Castle isn't just some historical site. It's an active royal residence, the oldest and largest occupied castle in the world, built by William the Conqueror, reinforced over centuries. And still, people are getting in. What's more terrifying? That someone tried? Or that they succeeded? British law says it's a criminal offense to trespass on royal estates. But criminals don't care about laws. They care about loopholes, weak spots, gaps in the schedule. And right now, Windsor has too many. The public sees the balcony waves, the gala gowns, the smiling portraits. But behind those perfectly framed moments is a growing fear. A fear that maybe tradition isn't enough anymore. That maybe, just maybe, the crown itself can't protect what matters most. There's talk inside the palace of moving the Wales family back to London, closer to Buckingham. But with Charlotte, George, and Louis thriving in Windsor's quieter setting, schools, gardens, space to breathe, will Catherine and William give up their children's peace for security cameras and panic buttons? King Charles doesn't think it's optional anymore, and neither does MI5. Sources say royal security has entered Code Sapphire, a classified status reserved for active or credible threats to heirs to the throne. The Crown has officially declared the safety of George, Charlotte, and Louis as the monarchy's highest domestic priority. Still, critics ask, what took so long? Why are there still moments of hesitation? Why wasn't the fence higher, the patrol tighter, the sensors more advanced? And more importantly, what happens next time? What if the man hadn't been unarmed? What if he'd made it inside? The castle may be ancient, but the threats are modern. Cameras don't blink. Guards can. Protocols don't matter if someone desperate, high, or just disturbed decides to leap over a wall. For Catherine, this wasn't a briefing. It was real. Her daughter Charlotte reportedly asked her why there were flashing lights outside, why the adults were whispering behind closed doors. How do you tell a 9-year-old that the world outside the gates isn't always safe, even when you wear a tiara? William, furious but focused, has demanded a full investigation, not just of what happened, but of what could happen next. How many more like this man are out there? How many are watching? One former royal bodyguard told The Times, "It's not a matter of if, but when." and when could be catastrophic. And that's what keeps the palace awake at night. Because this isn't about politics anymore. Or pageantry. This is about 3 children, smiling, laughing, learning, and whether they'll grow up believing the castle is their sanctuary or their cage. Will George walk freely in the garden again? Will Charlotte feel safe attending school? Will Louis get to be just a kid? Or will he grow up under the shadow of body armor? The royal family is being hunted, not for who they are, but what they represent. The future. And the question we all have to ask is, how far will the crown go to keep that future alive? Or maybe a better one, how many more close calls before something truly irreversible happens?